Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today we got some stuff to talk about because this is kind of annoying, and I've been seeing this a lot lately. And we've been seeing this a lot lately. We have been seeing this now for a while. Yeah. So Xbox Game Pass, man, it is completely destroying the quality of games. Everything they launch on there, it just cannot compete with Cyberpunk 2077, Call of Duty Warzone, Battlefield 2042. It just can't compete with the GTA trilogy, man. Like, my gosh, dude, Game Pass is just destroying gaming as we know it. People aren't buying games anymore. I mean, like, who cares if Forza Horizon 4 was the fourth top selling game of November? That doesn't matter because Game Pass is ruining gaming and it's making people not want to buy games anymore. Everybody is just starting to be, they're starting to be entitled. I mean, how dare these entitled people complain about Call of Duty Warzone not working like advertised? It's free to play, but I mean, like, who are you to complain over Battlefield 2042 launching with 3 modes? Like, seriously, that's a bang for your buck, dude. What about Grand Theft Auto, man? The Grand Theft Auto trilogy? Like, how dare you question those masterpieces when they come out and everything is and everything just it works. Be lucky, be grateful it works. Right? Mr. Glass, Brian, how you guys doing? How dare we question these super rich companies that are or I mean Sony, like, how dare you even take the nerve to question them charging you $30 for a 3-hour upgrade? How dare you? I mean, Ubisoft tomorrow is launching 2 updates for Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they're not even making you pay for them. And you're going to get like 30 hours of gameplay because there's 2 new islands that are coming to both games. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's a whole lot. What's up, Zachary? How you doing? Yeah, dude. I hear this. I've heard this a lot. And then when I start to look at these games that are broken, that are busted, they're launching without content. Is it really Game Pass that's destroying gaming, or is it AAA companies that are so greedy they just want their money right now, and then they'll maybe fix their product down the road? That's kind of what I think. I mean, I feel like Game Pass, it kind of holds the developers' feet to the fire, man. If they put out a trash game, nobody's going to play it. If you know what I mean? But these other companies, man, charging us full price for these games and then maybe fixing them. Like, think about Anthem, man. They launched that game. It was kind of broken at first. I mean, it was a pretty decent game for what it was, but man, all the promises, all the new content we were getting, are like, oh, you know what, man, we're not going to do that now. We're sorry. We're going to move on to another. We're going to move on to another project that needs our help more. You hear it? Yeah. I don't know, man. I think it's the AAA. I think it's the AAA companies that are going to ruin gaming for a lot of people. I mean, dude, I played some really good AA games like Chorus. That game's freaking amazing. Comes out, it's super polished. It feels really good. There's no bugs or no glitches or anything like that. A really nice experience to play. You got Halo Infinite, man. I mean, Halo Infinite comes out. It's like pretty fun to play. It's actually really fun to play. Definitely better than anything I played on the PlayStation 5 this year for sure. Yeah, and that does include Deathloop. Like, I'm pretty freaking stoked about Halo Infinite. I have been trying to just get through this, but wow, man, this game is so challenging on normal for me. It's such a blast though. I just barely completed like the what is it? Gosh dang it, what's the name of that thing? The quarry. I just completed a quarry mission, man. Yes, I was really disappointed with Anthem. Anthem was a good game until they decided. Yeah, dude, I was so happy about that, and I was so excited to see what they were going to do for it. I mean, they should have at least gave us, like a better. I don't know, man. Like, come to think about it, like they show that game off and it looked freaking immaculate. When they first showed that game and got everybody all hyped for it, I was like, whoa, this is great. And then it launches, and even on Xbox One X, man, it was like, wow, dude, wow, really? Is this really the best we can do? Oh man, it was so bad. Just so bad. I don't know, man. Like, oh, I was arguing with a guy about this yesterday. He was saying that Game Pass leads to subpar games. Then someone said that Halo was subpar. Yeah, dude, those guys are idiots, man. Halo is freaking phenomenal. I love that game. I love the way it feels. I love the way it plays. I'm having a blast with Halo. And I've never been a Halo fan. Like, I'm not just sitting here capping for Halo because this is an Xbox channel. Like, honestly, if Halo sucked, I would tell you Halo sucked. I would not care. I actually like it. I think Halo Infinite's a better game than Far Cry 6. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm more interested in playing Halo than I am other things right now. Why do you buy all your games? Some games aren't worth owning. I do both. The games that I want to keep, I buy. The ones on Game Pass, I install, play them, delete them. Just depends, man. What's up, Cool Breeze? How you doing? It just depends on the game, man. Like I usually just buy them because I've always bought my games, so I just love buying my games. Loving Infinite, it's so much fun. Yeah. Hello, Dark Shield. How's it going, man? I have mixed feelings on Halo. Yeah, I've heard a few people be like that, because they're trying to adjust to like the open world and stuff. But is that the problem with you, Christian? Like the open world part of it? Because that to me is major. Like I love the freaking open world. Like that part like really clicks with me because I play a lot of open world games. So that really clicks with me. At least the guys that made No Man's Sky kept at it until it was fixed. Yeah, exactly, dude. And double A developer, man. But it's the triple A guys that sell you a busted ass game that you gotta really watch out for. I have more faith in double A fixing the game than I do the other guys. I love Game Pass, I must admit. Game Pass is pretty good, man. It's got some value there. It's definitely more valuable than $70 games for sure, man. I don't know, man. Like I don't have a problem paying $70 for my games, but my gosh, dude, when they're freaking 10 hours and I have no desire to play them again, and the story was just like, like kind of underwhelming, that does bug me a little bit. I don't think I bought anything on the PlayStation 5. Actually, that's not true. Sackboy is freaking amazing. Sackboy is a damn good game. Sup, Professor? I'm not gonna get Game Pass for just a campaign. LOL. Ah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like if you're like, see, the thing with Game Pass though is like literally you could buy Game Pass every 6 months after waiting for all the games to come out. Beat everything in 30 days and cancel your subscription, man. Like, just depends, man. It goes to buy a lot of games, and there are very few that I have been disappointed with. I do buy a lot of games, and I do very rarely do I ever find a game that I just completely hate, like Call of Duty Vanguard. Honestly, I cannot believe how much I despise that game. I despise it. I hate it. I think it's the dumbest Call of Duty that was ever made. Love on Halo so far. That elite boss is kicking my butt on Legendary. Oh, which elite boss? My thoughts on the Matrix demo. I put out like 3 videos on it, Paulie. I think it's freaking amazing, dude. The fact that Series S can run that thing as well as it does, yeah, that's pretty insane. That Series S. Oh yeah, it is a next gen console. Dang. I always forget, man, because I hear so much that it's not, but then it runs like next gen games. I was like, wow, really? It's running a next gen game? Oh, that guy. Yeah, dude, that guy that was the first one that really gave me a run for my money, dude. I was like, oh, and I'm just playing it on normal. Oh, what you think about the game, the gunk? I'll probably download it and play it, see what it's like. What's up, Bryce Murphy? It's going good, man. It's definitely going good. You guys like my really, really, really cool? Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that, my friend. Keep up the good content. Congrats and grease. Thank you, man. Yeah, I I'm doing pretty good. I just wish I had more time to actually freaking play some games, man. More often. Man, that Xbox documentary really did nice. Oh, I know I should watch that. I should watch that today, but I've just been kind of busy. The work week, man. So I got what was it? I bought not this. Oh, I bought Assassin's Creed on Unity on the on Steam today. And I was playing around with that and stuff on the PC. I'm like, wow, man, I've never seen that game look so freaking good ever. It's just it's amazing. Like I'm pretty happy that I finally picked up a PC that will actually play some games. I can't wait to see what 2022 brings for gaming. So many games that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, there's a lot. I'm kind of starting to like wonder like what the hell is going on because we're starting to see like just developers. I follow this guy named Gavin Stevens on Twitter, and like he made some sense today when he was talking, like when he was complaining to these developers about how they optimize their game, and they're like, he's like, what are you guys doing, man? Just running the Xbox in like backward compatibility mode and just using all of the stuff to run these games because the PlayStation 5 version's running at 4K at 60 frames a second. PS5 got outsold by Switch and Series X. That's pretty funny, man. I don't know. There's going to be a big drop of PlayStation 5s on the 17th. So that's going to be interesting. Hey, King Kid, how's it going, man? Not only did I cop a PS5 disc, but I also got a Series X. So now my collection is complete. Nice. I also picked up Valhalla for the 5 for 15 new at GameStop. Nice, man. Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. We get a big old freaking we get a really big update for both of those for Odyssey and Valhalla tomorrow, man. So that's going to be pretty cool. Did you watch The Power on? It's great documentary. No, not yet. I have not yet. I already bought Aliens Fire Team Gia when it first came out, dude. I bought that the day it came out, so I already own it. I just need to transfer it back to my Series S. Valhalla expansions that are coming out look incredible. Yeah, they do, Brian. Yeah, they do. Or Bryce. Check out Gami's video on King Trash. He exposed him on Halo. Dude, I saw that. I watched a little bit of King Trash, his little video, and I was like, man, what the frick is wrong with this dude, man? Like, seriously. What is wrong with this freaking guy? Like I don't understand. Like Halo Infinite, in my opinion, is freaking fire, dude. It's well worth a $60 price tag. Like the visuals look great, the gameplay is freaking is amazing. The open world for me really clicks. I really like that. I'm starting to see some really beautiful sights that I'm like, wow, dude, this is great. I'm glad that we're seeing this. Um, when are we getting the 60 FPS for Assassin's Creed Origins? I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna get 60 for that. I have a feeling the reason why they did the 60 for Odyssey is because they're putting out a pretty decent sized DLC tomorrow for Odyssey and Valhalla. You get a new map or a new island for both games, I believe, for both games. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Cool about the update, yeah, dude. Man, the Matrix, yeah, that Matrix that was pretty freaking good. Oh, Nikolai, what's up, man? I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. I'm actually doing pretty good. Now I just have to get a 4K TV instead of 1080i. Yes, Ken. Yes, you do. You definitely need a freaking just go splurge, best one you can freaking get, man. Just do it. Just head on over to Best Buy right now, pick it up, and then come back, set it all up. It should be fine. Trash made fun of the AI. He was exposed because his profile showed he played the game on easy. No, that's what I was gonna do, man. I was gonna make a video. After watching that because he's like, "Yeah, man, you just walk down this corridor and there's like no freaking sense of urgency or nothing." And I'm like, "Dude, whatever, man, whatever." Try playing that thing, and then I was watching like how he's playing because on anything higher than easy, man, those guys would pretty much take you out, dude. Like, I mean, it felt a little more. It felt pretty freaking. It felt pretty interesting to me, man. Like it's challenging. It's definitely challenging, man. You really have to think about what you're doing. I die a lot in Halo, dude. I really do. I die a lot. What's up, Cabbage? Bonjour, Ken. Bonjour, Ken. If you can get an OLED, do it. Yeah, get an OLED. Oh, you will love yourself for the rest of your life if you get an OLED. Yeah, that LGGX or LGGX or CX, man, those are both good. After watching the Xbox documentary, I can't help to see PlayStation as an Xbox knockoff. No, I like the open world, but I did everything pretty fast. It was the story that was too cryptic. No respect for the military rank of elites, plasma weapons, recharge walking over them, etc. Oh, okay. So like nitpick stuff for the most part, like nitpick stuff, kind of Christian. Like if they continue to support this game forward, it should possibly get better. Like I do that with games I like too, though. You know what I mean? Like games that like I'm really invested in the franchise and stuff. I'm more likely to nitpick those more than I do the ones that I just don't really care about. Like Halo, I never really was a Halo fan, so it's really easy for me to just be like, oh yeah, that's great, you know, not really thinking about the legacy that other gamers have had with Halo. It's not something that I mean to do. It's just something that's like I'm pretty impressed with the way this Halo is. Like it's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it. At least he played it on easy rather than volcanoing over Forza 5 and using Forza 4. Nice. Hello, Shadow. How's it going, man? You need to play the game on Legendary. Oh yeah, right, dude. What? Yeah, right, man. I mean, my freaking time is already so freaking like I don't know if I'd have the time to do that, man. Frog, you need to use your grenades more. Start a fight with a grenade is half the battle. Oh, I definitely do. I use my grenades a lot, man. I definitely do. Like I just barely got finished doing the quarry mission with the dude with the freaking big hammer, like chasing me around and stuff. Took me 10 freaking times to beat that guy. When I finally beat him, it was because I like used my grapple to get up in the doorway and I was like shooting him from up above. man, that dude, like I finally figured out how to cheese him. So I saved that and I put it right on Twitter, man. I was like, dang. Oh, that guy got into an argument with a pony in your comment section earlier. It got pretty salty. Nice. I run in the room with grenades. I'm nasty with, yeah, dude, I use the heck out of those. Halo isn't that game anymore. I bought the battle pass for Halo today and I'm liking it. It's not so bad. Oh yeah, well, us people that bought it day one, man, like we're not happy with it. No, I'm just joking. On a TV as an investment, the money you'll spend will last you many, many years. Yeah, very, very sure. I mean, and if he's still rocking a 1080p TV, dude, yeah, he knows the value of a good purchase on a TV, man. It didn't take me that long. I run a business, lol. I know. Yeah, I know, but I got a 40-hour job and then I got to come home and do all this stuff. Yeah, elites that were supposed to be the top level generals are basically low level squad leaders. Not much enemy variety either. But we got those little flying guys now, Christian. Although being your own boss has its perks, I can play Halo all night. I know. Hey, Frog, also, Is this your first Halo game you played? No, this isn't my first Halo game I played. This is the first time that like I've actually played like playing through a campaign and stuff, that like actually, actually really caring about, what's going on and not just playing it with my kids or something. Oh, ponies, but Halo is an 8-hour game. I'm already definitely more than 8 hours into it. That's for sure. I've already got more than 8 hours. That is for sure. I usually play it for a couple hours every time I play it. I was playing it for. I probably played it a little bit longer tonight. Maybe like 2.5 hours tonight. I went on a 30 and 12 kill streak in Halo today, carrying the team to victory. Nice. Guys, what was that? Guys, we should all drop Andrew a like on the stream. Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate that. You guys. For space concerns, I can't go over 40 for a TV. It has to have 2.1 HD, at least two of them. Yeah, that might be a little bit. No. 40 inches is the most you can do because I think LG is going to have a 42-inch 42-inch OLED. I think they're coming out with one this year. I love shooting the helmets off too, man. I think it's pretty nice. 4K 120. Manted, what's up, man? I can't get enough of the dialogue from the grunts and Halo. I did it so funny. You are just wasting my time. You're just delaying the inevitable of my death. Oh gosh, dude, I can't get over it. It's pretty funny, man. I wouldn't waste my money buying a TV that doesn't have HDMI 2.1 right now. Are you a gamer or an epic troll? I know. I think he's an epic troll, bro. Seriously, man, don't get 2.1 right now. I'm like, dude, he's got an Xbox Series X. He needs 2.1 because there's a lot of 4K 120 games on there. Maybe not on the PlayStation, though. I mean, like on the PlayStation, yeah, you probably won't need that or VR or anything anytime soon. Definitely ain't going to need no Dolby Vision. I think they are releasing a 42-inch, yeah, cabbage. Go to LG to get those. HDMI 2.1 isn't needed on PlayStation 5, but yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, it's definitely not needed on PlayStation 5, but you're definitely gonna want that for Xbox Series X so you can play it 4K 120, man. Oh man. Ken's a growing man, dude. He's probably got enough money saved up to actually get what he wants, man. Doesn't have to worry about that them kid problems, bro. Hey, Andrew, is there something wrong with your volume? It sounds lower than normal. I don't know. Maybe. Possibly. There's always something wrong when it comes to this thing. Let me see if this is turned down. Oh, come on. Nope, it's turned all the way up. I think it's because I keep moving away from my mic. I need to just buy a better mic, dude. I'm gonna get a better mic. I promise someday. Have a 44-inch TV 4K. Yeah. I'm sure you heard about the faceplate for the PlayStation 5. I sure did. I'm buying two of them. I'm gonna get the pink one and the blue one, and I'm gonna mismatch them, so it's gonna look really cool, dude. No, I'm just. Do you even know the definition of trolling? Yeah. Got a 1440p TV. How'd you get a 1440p TV? Those are only monitors. Samsung Neo OLED next year. Getting it. Nice. Yeah, them Samsungs are going to be good. But if you got an Xbox, dude, I don't know about that because it won't have Dolby Vision support. Maybe it will. I don't know. But like as it sits right now, there's no Samsung TV with Dolby Vision support. Do not listen to anyone saying the regular 4K TV will do. I promise if you get LG OLED, you will thank me. That's a huge difference. Yeah, I upgraded the memory yesterday. It's doing fine, man. It's essentially giving me 1080p at like freaking 90 frames on most games. It definitely drops down some on Cyberpunk, but I can get pretty close to 60 frames a second. It's a pretty stable 60 frames a second, but if I turn on ray tracing, dude, it just takes it. It drops it down to like 30 or lower. But yeah, I'm pretty cool. I'm all right with this this laptop for now. Did you hear Sony now has more face plates and controllers than they do games for their PS5? Only 4K will do. Atari 2600 was my first. Mine was a Nintendo Entertainment System. Man, I mean, PS5 doesn't have VR or Dolby, so if you get a PS5, probably a 1080p TV with a SCAR cable. I know. You just twist that little freaking coax cable on there, man. LG OLED is the best. Checks all the boxes for features. Yep. Andrew, do you think you play less open world games as you grow older? I know I do. I don't know, man. Like the open world games are the ones I like to play the most. Those games, like, dude, I'm so pumped about freaking Assassin's Creed Valhalla tomorrow. It's not even funny. Transmission died 2 weeks ago, so I have to watch what I write now with the holidays. Yeah, I'm happy to pay $70 for an 8-hour one-time play games cheap on the TV though. VR can wait. Sony is still planning on VR. Well, I hope so. I haven't heard anything about it. It's been over a year. Yeah, Xbox dropped a lot of games this year for sure. That was the greatest thing in 77. Yeah, I know. Dude, I was 85 when I first played my first game, so I was pretty happy about that. I was pretty stoked. Oh, yeah. Yep, I'm definitely a gamer for life. D-Brand. Nope, man, I'm getting and early next year, Crossfire X and Stalker 2. So the Valhalla update for tomorrow is they're going to bring Cassandra into the game from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So if you have both games, Polly, you're going to get 2 maps, two islands. You're going to get an island per game and story content for both games. So, yeah, dude, you're probably looking at another 30 hours of gameplay, dude, just for free. Well, maybe I'm going to say 10 hours of gameplay. I think 10 hours of gameplay would probably be a safe bet. But yeah, you get them tomorrow. So make sure you got both games downloaded. Matrix looks awesome. Yeah, it does look. It looks pretty good on Series X and the PS5. It actually doesn't look bad on Series S either. I'm pretty happy with the performance of that. Just trying to make friends in here. I just bought Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Nice. Yeah, dude, I bought Unity today on the PC. Gunk seems like a sleeper. It's going to be a unique game, mate. Yeah, I think Gunk is going to possibly be closer to like Kana, Bridge of Spirits on PlayStation 5. I think that those two would probably compete, to tell you the truth. Gamepass has gotten some amazing games this year, yet ponies think Game Pass is ruining games. Yeah, they do for some reason. The Gamer Way is I'm waiting for Forza Motorsport reboot. I want to know the direction of this game, if it will go Assetto Corsa route or stay with the Simcade style. I want it to go more Assetto Corsa. I want it to go more realistic, to be completely honest with you. And maybe have like a mode that people can maybe like I don't know. No, just go all sim. Just go full sim. It'll probably be better. I have LG CX55 and I got it for half price around a year ago. Nice. Yeah, dude, that's a good price if you got it for half price. Took about a 10-year break from playing games. Life got really hard. I'm no longer the hardcore gamer I used to be. I did take a little bit of a break from for like a couple of years because I was a drug addict and I just didn't really have anywhere to play video games at. So back from my buddy LOL. Can't see how it plays. Game Pass is bad for the industry. Also, Pony's PlayStation services are best ever. Game Pass is done. They're just as good. The Vizio has 4K 120, but the TCL is 120, but not 4K. Yeah. Oh, I got the same TV, and I cannot speak highly enough. If it's something you have to see to believe. My And Dad was over at my house, seen Flight Sim on it, and went out and bought a G1. Nice. Only racing game I play is F1. F1's pretty good. It's correct. Game Pass is. I play on PC monitor, 140 hertz. Done winning. It's done winning. No, I'm still gonna keep winning, man. Yeah, nice. You really do buy a lot of games, Mr. Glass. I'm a lot more. I definitely am a little more selective on last gen games because I didn't like that grayish tone that a lot of games had from last generation. Spartacus will be more viable than Game Pass as long as he avoids the damn Romans. I know. Oh gosh, yeah. You know that Spartacus died pretty quick, man. After he came out, and made a lot of noise. They killed him up pretty quick. So yeah, I could see Spartacus dying on the PlayStation. The problem with 120 TVs is the cost. Also, a lot of games don't take advantage of it. Hey, man. I don't know, man. Sounds like with Unreal Engine 5, we're going to be reverting to 30 frames a second. Really, I have TCL. I can't recommend it enough. The OG Xbox that were back compatible with my 360. I'm going to try and install them on my X. Heck yeah. If they were back compatible with your OG, with your 360, maybe they might be compatible. I don't know. They might. My T-Shadow, I'm already on to my 11-12 game already this year. Yeah, dude, I've played so many games this year. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. These are speechless, just incredible. And as you can't speak highly enough of it. Yeah. As long as the TV does 1440p 120, you're good. Don't rush out. I think you need 4K 20. I thought ponies buy their games. Why do they want Spartacus? Spartacus gonna ruin games like Game Pass did. I know. Pony logic is definitely out there. But it's just the fact that it's future proof. There's a bunch of games that do take advantage, and even ones that don't look freaking amazing. Yep, that's very true. I do want more 120 hertz games, but at the same time, when I turned on Assassin's Creed Unity, I'm getting like 165 frames a second. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. That thing is pretty freaking nuts. This laptop can run that thing so freaking good, man. Yeah, optimize the matrix for the series consoles and PC. Yeah, that's why that thing looks freaking great. Spider-Man on the Unreal Engine 5. That would be pretty cool, man. I don't know if Insomniac would do that, though. They might. Everything I saw say is usually correct. Plays on 1080p cable TV. Ponies are living in their own closed universe. Spider-Man 2 is probably going to be great. I think that's going to be a good game. I'd like it if the world was bigger, for sure. Agree it's future proof, but future gets there. For half the cost of today's prices. Unity was one of the best looking games. Does the graphics also improve on the laptop? Oh yeah. Wait, like a lot. I was like, holy crap, this looks so freaking good, man. And I could still get like 4K or something on my TV. Like when I put it on my TV, dude, it looks freaking phenomenal. I'm like, wow, dude, that looks damn better than that looks a lot better than when I was playing it on my freaking Series X, man. Realize folks from the Coalition actually worked on the OG Matrix film. My theory is their next game might be a Matrix game. That would be pretty cool, man. That would be pretty cool if they actually put out a Matrix game. But why would they put out that demo for PlayStation as well, though, too? You know what I mean? Are they just giving them a demo and like we get the full thing, man? That would be pretty cool. Or maybe they did get or maybe they did do like a little or maybe they did like a thing, you know, kind of like MLB The Show where they got to put it out on both of them, so that wouldn't be too bad. And then maybe I would like to see something like one of Sony's teams and one of Xbox's teams like get together and like make a freaking cool next gen game. Like that would be pretty cool. Snatching Part 2, Day 1. Oh, Valor, what's up, man? Do you think Spider-Man 2 will have a one map encompassing the entirety of New York City? That would be kind of cool, man. That would be kind of cool if they did that. I do hope that I do hope that that game expands in scale for sure. That's definitely something I would really love to see. Did you hear Bully 2 might be Rockstar next game? That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. No, not a troll. Okay, maybe once in a full man. Stay home, am I right? I'll be pissed if that's true. The S is fire. It looks great on my Peep 75 Samsung OLED. Nice. I'm pretty excited about this. Sony and Xbox still wishing they pull Switch numbers. I know that Switch is freaking. So many people buy that. So many people are going to start buying this Xbox Series S too, man. I think a lot of people were worried about, you know, it really actually being like a it would actually be. I wonder if people are actually now that that Matrix demo is out, maybe people will start taking the Series S a lot more serious, man. Because dude, for it to run Unreal 5, that's pretty freaking. That's impressive. That's really impressive. Wasting $300, knowing you're gonna have to upgrade in a year's dumb. Why would anybody waste their money, dude? If why do people buy the Nintendo Switch, man? Like I don't get your thinking. Like the people that are buying the Series S are buying them for their kids mostly. That's the market that's designed to compete in. YT Shadow. It's designed to compete with the Nintendo Switch. I have enough S's to keep one and still have one for my bedroom TV. Yeah, for real. Pony said Matrix demo looked trash and Spider-Man 2018 looked better when they found out the coalition worked on it. No, I see. Dude, those guys are. Yep, they're all like, oh man, I'm deleting that right off my PlayStation right now because I don't want to have that on there. I'm like, whatever, dudes. I mean, I get all those free upgrades for Assassin's Creed tomorrow, dude. That's gonna be pretty freaking cool. I'm not even lying. I'm really looking forward to that. Pony said the Matrix demo looked trash. Spider-Man 2018 looked better when they found out the coalition worked on it. Nice. Oh. Series S is a great machine. Definitely a next gen console as it run next gen games. So guys, I got a question for you. I got that Sword and Fairy 7 on the PC. Do you guys want to see more gameplay of that game? Because now that I have 16 gigs in here, I can probably stream that a lot better. They also free on PS5. Yeah, they're definitely free on PS5 as well. That's the thing, though, man. It's like, how can they be free on PS5? Don't we have to pay like that Sony tax or whatever? But I guess Ubisoft is okay or is able to skirt the tax and go ahead and give you that. I can't believe Square Enix is really trying to sell that Final Fantasy VII remake to the PC guys for $70 freaking dollars, man. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now with that, dude? Like that game wasn't even $70 on the freaking. Yeah, dude, that's so bad. That's so bad. Because the Series S is actually running that Matrix demo on Unreal Engine 5. So that's how we know it's going to run okay on next gen. What's up, Onyx? How you doing, man? Cabbage. I've been hearing talks about Matrix demo for PS5 being more optimized over the Series X. I don't think that's the case. I've played them both. I think they're pretty freaking close to being the same thing. PlayStation probably tried to charge $70 for the Matrix demo. I know. It's free. The mind bending ponies have to do. The Matrix looks great. I mean, it's bad. Well, it's not bad. Spider Man. Oh gosh, I know. Those freaking guys, man. Square trying to charge $70 for their games on PC going forward. Yeah. Actually, I need to do something real fast, my friends. Oh, sorry. I'll get right back to you guys' stuff in a second. Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. Square said tried. Common Shadow sing us a rainbow or crest salty river. There's ways to get games a lot cheaper on PC. How do you get games a lot cheaper on PC? They have at least to be the same. Can't be bad. So the biggest thing I need to watch, Onyx, is VRAM requirements on these games. Because this 3050 Ti only has 4 gigabytes of VRAM, so that's not really it's not really the greatest. There's already some games that would probably not work that great on it. They have to at least be the same, but it can't be better on better for because PS5 because the Coalition Masters of the Unreal optimized it. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it looks good, YT Shadow. It matters that it works. And it does look pretty good, man. I don't know why you're saying that. Like, I am perfectly okay with those visuals. And I have a Series S. See right there. I have Series S. Look, it's real. I can pick it up with my hand. It's not just some like picture sitting behind me like with a green screen, dude. There's an actual Series S, and I think it looks fine on it. What issues does it have on the Series S? YG Shadow, because I'm not finding any issues because he's a fanboy. You have an issue too. I thought your Xbox was smoking, YT Shadow. That's not true. It's smoking. You don't have an Xbox. I think it looks fine. For $300, man, that thing looks pretty dang good. Oh, you do LOL. You guys notice how I put that how I put the how I put up this oh my gosh. Not a single issue with my Series S. No, dude, I don't have any. Why would you have a Series S, man, if you're such a PlayStation fan? How long is that documentary? Because I think I want to just lay down and watch that. Oh. Only thing I bash Xbox the lack of games because I win games other than FPS on my Xbox. Oh, I see. My PS changed color. I'm worried. What color did it change? There are 6 parts in there, about 40 minutes each. Oh, wow. Really? Oh, man. I should have started watching that when I got home. It's just Dustin. Well, I knew you were gonna say that, dude. I knew you were gonna say that. It's got this like gray tinge to it. Oh my gosh, man. That's hilarious. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna watch that thing. What documentary is this? Oh, it's the Xbox documentary, the one that we're talking about on the 20th. Yeah, I'm just gonna watch them on YouTube, man. I'm kind of feeling like a little tired tonight. Anyways, I gave you my gamer tag, but you just hacked me. Why would anybody hack you, man? That just doesn't sound productive. It's good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch it, man. I'm just gonna sit down and freaking watch it. Just stream them. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm streaming. Oh, you mean like right now? Yeah, I guess we can do that. Let me go over to YouTube. YouTube, Xbox documentary. The power on ones. Chipter one. Okay, we'll go over here to let's see, share. Oh no, not slides. Sorry. Share screen.
When I came to Microsoft in 1987,
of imagination
right.
and technology has introduced a fundamental evolution in human interaction. And now represents a culture of 2.4 billion gamers connected worldwide.
All right, hold on a minute, guys.
But just 20 years ago, the console that kicked off the era of online gaming in the living room almost didn't exist.
You ever want to make hardware?
Oh gosh.
No, that's one thing that we decided not to do.
the idea that Microsoft could ever create a game console was seen as a bit of a joke.
Microsoft.
They wear khakis and they're boring and their office and their windows.
You might as well call it Nerdbox, right?
I can't imagine how it could be better.
A new console was seen as a risky bet
There it is.
at a company not accustomed to losing.
You're proposing taking money away from Windows.
Sorry,
in
guys,
order
it's
to
going to take me
fund
just a
some
second to get
game
this set up.
system?
That is an insane business to get into.
It was fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
We're going to make it, aren't we, sir?
This is the story of how a passionate group of gamers forever changed the course of a corporate titan.
They sold the future broadband internet to the television set.
Like, you can do that?
Then Bill says, we should do this. We should work this out, do this.
And the journey to get that controller into our hands.
This thing is going to be the most badass thing.
Sorry,
you can
guys.
imagine.
I don't know if you guys can see this or not.
Think about the way you could tell stories with that.
No matter
Yeah,
where
okay,
are
you
in the
can.
world,
Cool,
We can all be
cool.
part of one bigger community.
Started playing the other campaign. Let me go up a little bit.
hot knife us.
Okay, documentary.
You take it for granted now, but back then this was like science
Got a
fiction.
5K export.
Weren't sure how we were going to do it.
Xbox.
Nice.
Watch TV.
Forza Horizon 5.
Hell no, Microsoft. Gamers are not
Did
going
you
to
do
be
the
tolerant
20th
of any
anniversary
level of
controller?
at all.
Oh, no, I
Risk
didn't.
here was enormous.
Has a
You're
big
always
controller
just
painted on it.
one
Nice.
catastrophic bug away from not making it.
I remember thinking, hey, maybe we're in over our heads.
There's a new contender in the video game wars.
Xbox is going to be the future. Truly the future of video games.
Xbox.
Taking over the living room.
Limitless, connected digital entertainment.
You guys never understood. The company is going to face fierce competition.
Sniper! It's a ticking time bomb.
Makes me very nervous to actually play this for
I was an Xbox
Getting a
fanboy.
major overhaul. A bold vision for the future of gaming.
Hey, butt up, Mike. Can you see it? No, don't say that. And stop typing that in there,
Hello.
Jay.
I'm Bill Gates.
Can you get my
chairman
thing
of Microsoft.
demonetized, bro?
In this video,
You're going to see the future. Microsoft first came up with the Windows concept back in 1983. I'm going to show you real quickly a couple
All right,
highlights.
I'm
of
gonna
the
sit
product.
back and watch
the graphics
this.
interface is an integral part of this new generation. To take PCs much further
Not
than
very
they've
good
gone
around other
before.
people, so I
When I
play
came to
mostly
Microsoft in
solo.
1987, the average age was 27, and I was 27. We were an amazing young company with an amazing young founder in Bill Gates.
He knew business better than anybody out there, and he also knew technology. He was able to synthesize things that nobody else in the industry could.
It was incredibly fast moving. It was the kind of place where people didn't hold back. For someone who just wanted to really let loose and grow and learn, it was an amazing place.
Bill Gates and the team back then were the disruptors, which was exciting and palpable.
We just thought of ourselves kind of that rebels, kind of, where the big companies like IBM were these huge companies, but we
This
were
is
this little
pretty
rebel group
cool.
of hackers, doing this cool work. I'm very optimistic about where we're going. But that really changed in 95.
Windows 95 has taken over computer stores.
They were online in the middle of the night. Personal computer users packed into stores dying to get their hands on one.
When Windows 95 launched, it was like a coming out party for the whole company.
Microsoft made a thing that everybody in the world wanted. It was like air to me. It just was. It existed and you needed it.
Today's world, you can't make it without a computer.
Has thousands of programs that some of us may need.
I can run 3 or 4 applications at the same time. Windows 95 is so easy, even a talk show host can figure it out.
By the late 90s, Windows was dropping $1 billion
This sucks.
every month.
I'll see it, T-Dog. Take 2 seconds. Nerd box better.
It was the most profitable business in the history of the human race. I don't think there's ever been anything remotely like it, unless you count the Spaniards going to the New World and like literally hollowing out a mountain made of silver.
Yeah.
Microsoft, which has a business relationship with NBC, is the most powerful engine in the new age of computers, a giant cash machine, and it strongly disagrees with the government.
In the late 90s, we were sort of the bad guys, the Death Star.
The perception of Microsoft, I think, generally was not great. They were in the middle of the Justice Department monopoly issues.
We were the big gorilla in the room on most subjects. And so people viewed us as sort of the big bad tech.
Hi, doggy. Hi, doggy.
By 1999,
Doggy coming
90% of computers worldwide used the Microsoft
Are we
Windows
serious?
operating system. They were untouchable,
Okay.
without comparison or viable rival.
We've been successful in the operating system
Babe.
world, built a huge PC business, built Microsoft
literally live
Office into this
streaming
big
right now.
business. We were the tech behemoth.
Windows overtook that industry and transformed the world. But during that period, disruption was coming from all sides.
Oh, man.
For decades,
Yeah, I don't
Sony,
think anybody's going to
a
hack you,
Japanese
Shadow.
electronics giant with a history of producing personal and home entertainment hardware. And then, in 1994, Sony struck gold with the PlayStation, a gaming console with unparalleled success.
Look at those games.
The launch of PlayStation really thrust gaming into popular culture in a big way. And Sony saw an opportunity for gaming to be even bigger and touch entertainment.
What Sony discovered was a console was really a Trojan horse to the living room. And once that device got into the living room, it could be a multimedia entertainment device.
Sony was putting different things into the home. They're putting a hard disk here, like a DVR. They're putting memory here. They're putting a processor here. And if they could connect all those things together, it would be a computer, a potentially existential threat to Microsoft.
Without further ado, let me introduce to you the next generation PlayStation technology.
Even before Sony launched PlayStation 2, they were just creating this perception of inevitability. PlayStation 2 was the next big thing, and anything in its way was going to get crushed.
They said our new PlayStation, so powerful, this can replace the PC.
Sony was showing a slide at trade shows and to our customers of a future home that was full of PlayStations and didn't have any PCs in it.
which was like shooting cannonballs over Microsoft headquarters.
It was an incredibly arrogant thing for them to do, but it was pointed too. I mean, that was a very serious threat.
In the 90s, Microsoft was a paranoid place. And when somebody said Sony's going to put a PC in the living room, that got everybody's attention.
And if Sony was to the point of locking down the living room, what was Microsoft going to do?
One possible answer was brewing not from the top executive ranks,
Xbox outsold
but
PlayStation
from
5
deep within the
again. PS
Microsoft
fanboy
corporate
said no
structure.
one wanted a Xbox.
4 renegades on the DirectX software team who were working on tech to help developers create games for Windows, and who were
I'll be right
united
back,
by a
guys. I'm gonna go
fervent
grab me some
belief
food
that
real quick.
games were the future.
I was leading the DirectX development team with
Thank you, doll.
one of my colleagues on the marketing side of DirectX, Ted Hasse. You know, the question that we were starting to ask is, where was all this graphics technology headed?
So
Windows
it's Sony's
had won
fault?
the desktop operating system wars. So we're starting to ask where there could be threats or opportunities in the future. We quickly narrowed down to games and an all-encompassing entertainment platform for the living room as being an opportunity for us.
Otto had carefully built a career at Microsoft, and he had already taken a risk because Otto could have been an important programmer in a legitimate Microsoft group like Windows or Office. Instead, he chose to be in this DirectX group because he was passionate about graphics.
Ted and I both had folks on our teams we felt could bring some additional brain power to the conversation, including Seamus Blackley.
How do you describe Seamus? He's just a piece of work. One of the most brilliant people I've ever met.
Besides being a physicist and a really amazing mathematician, Shane has really embodied the heart of what it meant to be a game developer.
When I saw arcade games when I was little, when I saw Computer Space, my first idea was not, I want to play this game for hours. My idea was, how can I make my own thing?
One of Ted's employees was Kevin Bacchus, who had a financial and market analysis background.
Kevin's like a Vulcan in the best possible way. His interface to
The
the world is
medium.
entirely intellectual.
That is correct. We had day jobs for DirectX, but a lot of our thinking was how we could build brand new technology that was single-mindedly focused on making the very best games.
4 of us, we played games and we loved games and we wanted to make them. That really meant something for us.
They were working on DirectX, a set of software tools that standardized game development across PC hardware, and which was readily embraced by PC game developers. But the team saw a way to push DirectX further, with an idea that could revolutionize the foundation of console game development.
With Windows and DirectX, we have the platform that everybody wants to do the work on to make the games. We already have the entire infrastructure of everything you need to create all this technology
James did.
sitting on our platform. If we could only create a single hardware standard, a box designed just to run DirectX, it gave us the idea that we could produce better games than Sony and Nintendo and Sega.
At that time, Japanese game consoles had very proprietary chipsets, and they just didn't work very well for Western developers. The instructions on how to use it would be in Japanese. What the DirectX group was proposing was, there's a better way to do this. We're going to use PC architecture that you're familiar with, which is just going to work out of the gate, so they could spend more time crafting and building their games.
They had an incredibly developer-friendly story. You already know how to write these games. If you've written them for PC, you can write them for console as well. You know, that message is pretty powerful.
For us, this was about advancing the gamer's interest and the game developer's interest, which would advance Microsoft's interests. So we decided that this was the right time to try to build support for the idea of Microsoft building a game console. At the same time, nobody ever believed that Microsoft would actually have the audacity to attempt such a thing.
The 4 of us, we were on a journey to get support for this crazy idea around putting a DirectX-powered box in the living room to deliver interactive content.
We were trying to crash meetings and get traction on this thing.
We were an annoyance.
Nobody knows who the hell we are. And we were constantly discovering super important people who were roadblocks or who wouldn't get it and who didn't think games were important.
You're proposing taking money away from office development in order to fund some game system?
These people dreaded having meetings with us.
No surprise, displacing the stated direction of a company at the scale of Microsoft was not a trivial undertaking.
Realizing
had
that
to
who
ring
you
Bill
knew
when he was
inside of
sitting
Microsoft was at least as
with
important
EA
as
to
what you
prove
knew.
that Xbox
We
really
brought in
were
the
making
guy
a
who could
machine.
try to build support for the idea of Microsoft building our game console. Nat Brown.
I had a lot of time spent talking with different teams and working with kind of long-term strategic planning.
Nat had an incredible network of connections. He opened up a lot of doors for us.
Nat was sort of like our Obi-Wan Kenobi, this wizard figure who would show up and go, oh, I know who you need to call. You need to talk to the guys in this division or that division. He knew the structure to Microsoft.
It's been nothing but a fight to figure out how the place works.
One of the first things Nat said was we needed a proper code name.
Something that would plant in people's head and take on a life of its own.
Nat said, well, isn't it really a DirectX box in the living room? I'm like, yeah, it's like a DirectX box. That's what it's about.
And we just put up on the board, let's call it the DirectX box.
So we had this awkward thing in our mouths all the time. It was the DirectX box.
And I remember saying, that's too long. It's just Xbox. And we liked that.
That was our code name. It was a stand-in until we had something better come along.
We built a business case that showed how big this business could be. To get buy-in on that, you have to distribute it. You have to go socialize it. My
It's not
trick was
Xbox
getting our
One.
stuff in front of executives to make them say, I want to understand this business.
The team set their sights on a logical choice. A senior executive who spoke their language, literally.
Yeah, I'll play real quick. Ed Fries was a Microsoft lifer. He joined as an intern. Ed had.
I sent you a friend
critical in the
request,
development of
YT
Office.
Shadow.
It's one of the biggest franchises, even at that time, that Microsoft ever had. He had this passion for games. He loved games. He programmed a game at a very early age.
When
Stream
most high
Flight
schoolers
Sim
were
on
getting their
Xbox.
first
Not
minimum
yet, you
wage
can't.
jobs, Freeze was already cashing
Not until the
royalty
first
checks
of the
from his
year,
first game.
Chris.
So let's take a look at this high quality product.
A clone of the hit arcade game Frogger, aptly named Froggy.
Yeah.
When I left Office to go run the games group, people told me I was committing career suicide.
Thank you. That's it. Good night.
They said, why would you leave Office, one of the most important parts of the company, to go work on something no one cares about? And when I got there running the games group, I found out they were right. No one cared about what I was doing. And that was awesome.
No one cared about what I was
The
doing.
games group was really small. It was like 20 people. In a lot of these tech companies, there's
Oh, I
not
thought-
as much respect given for those.
No, you're good, bro. Hey, Mr. Trainer, how's it
Microsoft
going?
at the time didn't care very much about games. I think we were just more of a hobby.
We were gamers working in like the bowels of some Microsoft corporate building. Our goal at the time was to push Windows as a gaming platform.
I always felt like I was doing underdog stuff, and that's actually what I really enjoyed. I enjoyed trying to bring Microsoft from behind in PC games.
After Windows
No, I
95
don't think it
launched, we
tells
had
you
to wear
anybody.
these T-shirts that said Microsoft knows games.
You know, it was obvious we didn't really know games. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had to put it on our shirt. You know what I mean?
Choose your favorite form of world domination in Age of Empires.
But after a couple of years, we launched Age of Empires.
It was kind of crazy what a fascination that game became.
And it was one
As long
of
as you don't
the
download it.
signature PC strategy games for years.
That was actually a huge success for us. And we started to do some acquisitions, and we were growing our publishing business.
As we started to ship more quality games, we finally got to the point where we were respected in Microsoft, and people are like, okay, Microsoft actually does know what it's doing when it comes to games.
$700.
Ed took a
Damn.
broken games business and fixed it and made it profitable and found a way to do it at Microsoft. These are difficult double black belt Aikido corporate moves.
That game was so cool.
Steering the tiny PC games division into a profitable department had won Ed the trust of Bill Gates. And yet, Freeze himself wasn't satisfied.
Our PC market share was growing into the teens. And at the same time, we weren't doing anything in the console space. And that, to me, seemed like a bit of a waste. You know, there was this huge market out there. One day, these guys from the DirectX team walked into my office. And they pitched me on this thing, the Xbox. And basically what they pitched was a disguised PC. I thought, oh, this is great. This is like a bridge for me to get to the console business.
This box that will run a native version of DirectX, which is the part of Windows that's really focused on the game developer, was revolutionary.
It's going to be easy to port to this machine, easy to take my games and make them
Optimized
run. Unlike
for
running on
shooting.
PlayStation at that time or a Nintendo machine that was just very alien hardware compared to a PC.
Ed understood all this game development is happening on the PC. We wanted to make a console that was specifically designed to be easy and fun to make games on. And if the most creative people did their best work on your platform, that's really good business. That's a good idea.
Basically, I said, you know, I'm in. I like this idea. I want to help you guys.
The DirectX team, these were troublemakers, upstarts. They didn't have these reputations that Ed had as sort of born and bred to work at Microsoft.
They didn't really have any political clout within the company. It was, I think, a big win for them to get me on their side, from my point of view.
I love the original controller.
This unlikely alliance would bring the Xbox team closer to the biggest test of all, pitching Bill Gates. And that opportunity would come sooner than anyone expected.
When Sony unveiled the PlayStation 2, they started talking about how they were going to be the death of the PC.
A new concept that we'd like to introduce going into the next century, our EE, the emotion engine.
It was like, what a great name. Holy crap, you know, an emotion engine.
Our new CPU architecture significantly outperforms even the fastest Pentium 3 architecture that's in the market today.
They showed beautiful fighters, models twirling around. They showed 1,000 delicate rose petals falling from the sky to show just how many polygons, just the raw math that this behemoth of a device could process. And guess what? It's got the power of 1,000 suns behind it.
For Microsoft, that really crystallized what the stakes were. And Bill asked the DirectX team to do an analysis of these claims that Sony had made.
As you can imagine, getting on Bill's calendar was next to impossible. I felt a huge sense of pressure to make things happen and make them happen quickly.
Otto and Seamus provided a fantastic breakdown, very technical, what the emotion engine did and did not do, which claims were true, which claims were exaggerated. And at the end, they very audaciously slipped in a little mention of the fact that, you know, we could build a console too. And we put together what we thought at the time was a pretty compelling argument.
Gates had been curious about the viability of a Microsoft console, but it wasn't until mid-March of 1999, just 1 week after the formal announcement of the PS2, that the possibility was finally starting to percolate amongst the company's elite at its annual leadership retreat.
Semiometer was Bill Gates' annual to think about strategically what sort of projects did they want to greenlight.
One of the programs that you do at this 3-day offsite is a idea generating effort.
We all sat in a room and people could propose a topic for a breakout.
We would write down a question and we'd stand there with our question in front of us.
People moved around and everybody voted what topic they wanted to work on.
And the question I wrote that year was, what if the cable companies like AOL and Sony all got together and they all pooled all the subsidies that they were paying to acquire customers.
Got it from the
Out
Discord.
for free because it'd be so ubiquitous and so highly wanted. That's all I said.
If they could get it into the home as a game console, it would be like the comet
One
that
day,
hit the
8
Earth and
hours,
wiped out
and
the
17
dinosaurs.
minutes. Yeah, you're not going to be able to play that on the last gen console.
I got a big line of people behind me on that one, and including Bill. And off we went to start talking about it for a couple hours.
And so we had a sort of a 2-hour thrash on pros and cons of video game console. What was the state of play with Sony?
And coming out of there, Gates just called it. He wanted me to look into what we should do about it.
Thompson's big question resonated with Gates, and a call went out to the entire company looking for anyone who could answer.
The X is 500, the S is
Senior
300.
managers all over the company saying, anybody working on any of this kind of stuff?
And so in March of 99, the DirectX team and every other group in the company that touched games in any way was brought together for a meeting to talk about whether we should have a comprehensive game strategy for the entire company. We took that opportunity to say, listen, not only do we have a perspective on this, we actually have a presentation, a PowerPoint deck that we'd like to share with everybody that says what we, the DirectX team, think the company should do. And obviously that created a great stir at the meeting. Nobody was expecting that. But it was a great surprise to us to find out there were other parts of the company that had aspirations of doing the same thing.
That's pretty cool.
I was running a team in what was known as the Windows CE group. Windows CE was an operating system designed to run devices like handheld computers or even game consoles via a partnership we struck with Sega around their last game console, which was the Dreamcast. We had a pretty capable hardware team.
Some of the guys in that group had worked at 3DO.
Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system?
And that was a legitimate game console, albeit one that was not a success in the marketplace, but it was a legitimate console play.
Together, we had the hardware expertise, and we had a proposal for what Microsoft should do next in the console space.
Obviously, these guys think they know how to make a game console and that they should do it instead of us. We opened the door and Bill's interested in a game console, so now they're going to edge us out and they're going to step through the door.
They were funded, they had a name, they had leadership, they had executive support.
The argument was, we already know how to do this. What do these kids know? Go with us.
The DirectX team was young and hungry, full of tech know-how and vision. But Windows CE was well known within the company and had experience on their side.
Suddenly it was a race to try to get the most legitimacy inside of Microsoft, where the winner was going to be the one to bring a game console to market.
And it came to this big battle with Bill.
It was what Microsoft often seemed to do, which is pit two groups of smart people against each other. Classic Bill Gates move.
The stage for the cage match.
Sorry, guys, I'm just enjoying
the
watching
DirectX
this.
and Windows
I'm
CE
trying to pay
teams would
attention to
battle
both things
for the
at the
right to
same
make a
time.
Microsoft game console in front of founder Bill Gates. To the victors belonged the spoils.
Having Bill in the meeting was always a fantastic thing, as well as increasing the tension at the same time.
Somebody's confused. Somebody's just not thinking. Legendary. If you went in and you're full of shit, you get shut down.
No, you don't understand. You guys never understood. You never understood the first thing about this.
So, we tried really hard not to be full of
He's brilliant, but it was a very aggressive, male-dominated culture. Lots of expletives, super, super smart. But man, if you said something stupid,
well, I'm done.
Round
one. From my group's perspective, we felt good. We thought they didn't really understand the console space, so frankly, we discounted them a little bit.
Ready? 5.
We proposed something that aligned very much with how business was done in the game console market as it existed. You got to meet the market where it's at.
The WinCE guys were sort of like preaching the model, but the model isn't very interesting.
In their pitch to Bill, as we're sitting there horrified, they're basically talking about recreating the 3D or making a game console similar to everything else that's on the market. And we're like, you don't enter a market and copy what the competition does exactly. You enter a market to disrupt it, to do stuff they can't do.
Windows CE presented, and they talked about this device and blah, blah, blah. And then the DirectX team got up and presented this vision for Xbox.
There were two things in our plan that we thought absolutely critical to the success of Xbox and games on Xbox, which had never been done before on a game console. Number one, a hard drive that would be important not only to save information about the player's state and what accomplishments they had done, but also so they could store large amounts of data somewhere and be able to access and change that over time.
I remember there was a big debate about should there be a hard drive in it or not a hard drive in it. We were the not hard drive folks. We didn't see the benefit of it.
The second component that we thought was absolutely critical was Ethernet. The Sega Dreamcast was basically the first console in history to have any kind of online component to it. But theirs was dial-up internet using a modem. That was the technology of the time. We realized that that was a short-term solution. What we wanted to do was to point towards the future and integrate Ethernet and high-speed broadband internet to the television set. We wanted to bet on the future rather than on the present.
The ability to connect machines to each other and to the internet was a core part of the DNA.
We were pitching a very traditional game console, and the Xbox team proposal, as I understood it, it sounded to us like, hey, we're going to take a PC and we're going to go build a console out of that, and it just didn't seem credible. It's just not the way the business worked.
Final round, fight. These two groups came at the idea of building a game console in very, very different ways. So this meeting got really contentious.
We have to watch these guys like on our plan and tell us it's not going to work and talk to Bill about how game consoles really work. I'm waiting. I'm like, come on, Bill, kill him, shut him down. They're full of He doesn't do it.
I wanted to see the Bill Gates of old. I wanted to see Old Testament Bill Gates, the guy that was famous for throwing people out of meetings and telling them never to come back and telling them that they're the dumbest person in the company. To my horror, Bill sat back and stroked his chin and was very thoughtful. Bill said, well, I think both teams raised some good ideas.
But he didn't seem really that impressed.
In front of that audience, we realized we had to bring out every stock.
The guys from the DirectX side knew that you don't go to a Bill Gates review without showing something really spectacular.
And so leading into this meeting, none of us had slept for like a week.
We made this little device that had relatively old PC technology with a game console-like case on it. And we modified Windows with a hack that like tears open a hole from the bottom up and exposes
oh
the
gosh
hardware.
It was a bunch of PC components and a game controller, and it was literally just held together by chewing gum and tape.
Soldering stuff, stripping wires.
And this was like, in the back of our car or like, on the floor in a conference room that we were making this stuff.
An ugly timer on it that showed Windows booting up from power.
Sorry guys, I got to get in there and change something.
It took 3 minutes. It could take longer. It could take 5-6 minutes. These guys played with a PC, pulled stuff out that wasn't necessary, changed the BIOS.
And I turned it on. And so it booted in like 3 or 4 seconds.
Bill Gates almost jumped across the table. He was so excited when he saw that.
Bill immediately showed,
why the doesn't Windows boot like that all the time? Yeah. Bill wanted to see it multiple times. He's like, turn it off and do it again. Turn it off and do it again.
I saw his jaw drop. This is a guy who knows more than most people in the world will ever possibly know about PCs.
Okay, better
Saw
than memory
a
card
PC,
well.
probably for the first time, come on immediately. We had a software emulator of a PlayStation that had been written.
Yeah,
for Windows. So you
hopefully we
can
got
imagine
rid of
the
those.
executive surprise when we took a PlayStation disc, stuck it in the Xbox prototype, and immediately Tomb Raider came on screen in all its glory.
It bridged the gap of believability. It made the idea of Xbox seem tangible and real and achievable.
Oh, webcam chicks.
The DirectX guys were stuntmen, and they played the game a lot better.
We frankly, I think, underestimated what they were going to walk into the room with. That meeting wasn't a great outcome for us.
The Windows CE guys literally said, it's not fair. We weren't given the opportunity to make hardware. And somebody said, eliminate him. Well, nobody told them to build hardware, but they did.
Unfortunately for the Windows CE team, they brought a PowerPoint to a demo fight.
What's up, Bernard? How's it going, man?
Looking back on it now, I really do think that Bill looked at us and he saw some aspect of himself for the early days of Microsoft, and that's what he thought was going to work.
Bill's reaction was, you guys are proposing that it's doing good things for Windows and it's based on Windows and we got Windows in the living room. That all makes sense. You're proposing that we spend $500 million on it. You need to make this presentation to Steve.
How much do you think this advanced operating environment is worth? Wait just 1 minute before you answer. Watch.
Steve is one of the most enthusiastic and energetic people I have ever met in my life. That energy and enthusiasm that you see on stage is 100% authentic.
At the time, if the biggest fan of Xbox was Bill Gates, the biggest opponent was Steve Ballmer.
Steve, as a good businessman, liked to make money. He liked, big bold bets, but he liked big bold bets that would pay off.
This was right at the time when Bill was transitioning the CEO role to Steve. And they had already agreed for a couple of years that if Bill came up with some crazy idea that cost a lot of money, that Steve should get a chance to say yes or no on it first. And that led into this final meeting where we really had
Oh, the other concept build of the OG Xbox was nuts. Yeah.
The room was packed. There were a lot of different constituencies there, all the way from the field sales force to the most technical side of the company. You had a lot of people very, very interested.
Steve's a big guy. Bill's in there, and you're in there with these two super famous guys who hold your destiny. And Steve is really upset that we wanted to take this risk.
Ballmer understood very well where Microsoft's bread was buttered and where the money came from. We were a company known for productivity software. He didn't want some video game, or even the fact that we made video games, to threaten the very lifeblood of the company.
Steve looked at the Xbox idea and saw insanity. He went to his whiteboard. He said, okay, what's this going to cost? What's the hard drive going to cost? What's the Ethernet port going to cost? What's the graphics chip going to cost? And he totaled it all up and said, there's no way you got, what's your reserve for returns? Reserve for returns, what does that mean?
Found your channel while
we
looking for
freely
the
admitted that
information
we didn't
on the
understand the
console
first thing about
race.
hardware,
I think
but we
Xbox
were
is winning right
gamers
now,
and we were
especially
game
since the
developers. Our
remastered
entire
Fallout games.
careers have
Oh
been
yeah,
built
yeah,
around
for real,
games.
man.
We knew that 3D
Definitely.
gaming was taking off and online gaming was just around the corner. And the best and brightest in the game
Yeah, dude, I don't
development
think,
world, they were moving all
I
their
think
thinking
Xbox is definitely
from the PC
in a
to consoles.
way better place
We
than
had the opportunity
PlayStation
to
right
go
now.
create something that was going to take all of the equity, all the goodwill, all the technology, and all of the programming tools that had ever been created to make Windows applications and carry it forward to the living room. And that was the product that we were proposing, Xbox.
Looking back at that moment, what Steve and Bill were seeing was the future passing Microsoft by. Microsoft was thought of as this dominant company of the era, but success or even survival was anything but preordained. If Microsoft didn't grab this opportunity, that Microsoft would be on the wrong side of the future of tech.
It made everybody step back for a second and think.
The console
Sony
business
had
was something
button
that
word.
we needed to seize. I think that was where Bill and Steve realized that they needed to move forward with Xbox.
An incredibly electrifying moment. We'd finally convinced Steve. Bill was convinced.
They've done an outstanding job so far, haven't they?
I think Bill did have a view that software running on hardware in a family room could really bring some unique experiences into the home. We could start with video games, but it could go many directions from there.
It was really an opportunity to recapture the soul that Microsoft had at the beginning, to create that revolution, to create that new platform.
We were going to do something no one else had done. We were going to launch a console from a software company. Microsoft had done nothing like that before.
And then it became clear that there was just some really big challenges for us.
At the beginning, it was about credibility.
We had a task ahead of us to ensure that we were taken
That's
seriously in
horrifying,
the
yeah.
industry.
This equation of power, performance, and price. You have to come correct on every single part of that, to be successful.
There were so many tasks that had to be done on both the hardware and software side. We realized that we needed to have a leader. It was clear to all of us that that person was Rick Thompson. He had asked the best questions, the most insightful questions. We wanted him to be part of the answers.
So Rick was brought in as the seasoned senior executive who had experience in hardware with peripherals, mice and keyboards, and he had to construct a plan and a go-forward strategy.
My comment at the time was, I'm not big enough for this job. But a couple days later, Steve Ballmer calls me into his office and says, let's get this straight between the two of us. This is your job now.
You're making a big splash. You say you're getting into this consumer market. You know, if that doesn't work out well, it could really give the company a huge black eye, and that would be very difficult to recover from.
The risk here is enormous, the amount of money we could lose on this project. And for me, it was fear, uncertainty, and doubt, because you got a business guy who's going to try to figure out a business model with my little team of people who help me with the hardware business. You got 4 people coming over from DirectX. None of us actually knew the rules of the game that we're playing. And we basically just stood there and looked at each other and said, oh, now what?
Oh, yeah. He probably ran off to the Piggy Nation. Okay, that's fun. Part 2. That's chapter 5. Chapter 3. Where's chapter 2? Oh, chapter 2. All right, we're watching chapter 2 now.
The idea that Microsoft could ever compete with Sony.
Is that quality pretty good for you guys?
Microsoft is going to make a game
The
console.
piggies are coming. The
We might as well
piggies.
call it Nerdbox, right?
The
To
piggies.
prove our credibility. This thing is going to be the most badass thing you can imagine.
Dude, we need a metal X, and it's got to have a green eye, shooting a laser out. I want it to blind people. The game developers are not going to be tolerant of any level of bull at all. I opened up the first machine, I'm like, what the? Oh my God, what happened in there?
Seamus is backstage soldering as the auditorium is filling up.
And then it's in front of the boss. The boss is coming on.
The Microsoft brand is on the line. The Microsoft name's on
Down
the
in
line.
his dark basement on the Series
And it was
S.
terrifying.
He's screaming at us. You guys have lied to me. You guys have played me for a fool.
And he says, this is a insult to everything I've accomplished at this company.
It was terrifying. I thought my career was over.
There's a new contender in the video game wars.
Xbox is going to be the future, truly the future of video games.
Xbox.
Taking over the living room.
Limitless, connected digital entertainment.
You guys never understood.
The company is going to face fierce competition.
It's a ticking time bomb.
Makes me very nervous to actually play this for you.
Xbox getting a major overhaul.
Bold vision for the future of gaming.
The story of Xbox. Xbox.
Meet the Microsoft Mouse
Confirmed
Line.
it.
There's a mouse for everyone.
I
Expert
see, yeah.
or first-time buyer. Let's start with the basics.
I joined the hardware group back in 1987. I ran it for 13 years, hired 300 people into the group, and by 1999, we were doing $600 million worth of business a year.
Rick was working for me running our hardware business. Think mice, keyboards, we had some speakers, we had this thing called Interactive Barney.
That's super duper.
At some point, Steve Ballmer shows up and says, Rick's going to go do this business exploration. I want you to help sort of supervise and support him.
Steve Ballmer tells me that Xbox is my new job and is very convincing about it. Having been in hardware all of my career at Microsoft, I need to understand how this is going to be a good business for us.
You ever want to make hardware?
If you want to be a great software company, you have to be only a software company. You can't dabble in other things.
The idea of building a game console from scratch, the risk here was enormous.
We really understand what it is to be gamers, but we're panicking. We have to figure out how to build the hardware.
We had no idea what we were doing. None. Couldn't have been less qualified to build a console.
Everything about making a console is hard, including taking an upfront loss on the hardware. Sony, Sega, Nintendo, they design their own hardware. They manufacture it themselves, and they sell it at a loss and make a profit on games. That's how the business model works. So for Microsoft, that is an insane business to get into.
Our P&L said we were going to lose $2 billion or the privilege, maybe later on, somewhere way down the road, we'll make money. And once you started it, with all the commitments that you make trying to convince the game developers to make Xbox games, you can't really stop it.
What have you done? What madness has claimed you?
We made it the point to C-Bomber to say, if you guys start this thing, don't come back 6 months from now and say it hurts too much.
Any new console hoping to have even a chance of success needed to win over a group of notoriously tough critics, game developers. And getting past those gatekeepers would require Microsoft to make a flawless debut at the world's largest game developer conference, GDC.
Games sell consoles. And so in order to sell consoles, we had to win the hearts and minds of the developers.
The only place I think we could have ever announced Xbox was GDC.
The next GDC would take place in March of 2000, so the Xbox team had only 11 months to design and deliver a functioning prototype.
Time is running out for Microsoft to get on the board. If they didn't announce by GDC 2000, they were going to be ceding too much of the playing field to Sony. They had to do it.
And there was still one massive problem to solve. Who was going to build the console hardware? The plan had never been for Microsoft to do it alone.
The only way that we could actually get Xbox made properly was to go to the people that were really good at building hardware.
Rick was trying like hell to find somebody to partner with us, people had expertise that he knew we didn't have.
Companies like Dell and Compaq and NEC and Toshiba. We start these meetings, and most of the guys would look at me and go, "Who are you? And should I believe you or not?" And I'm like, no, really, we're going to do this.
And the OEMs all, laughed in his face. Like, we understand enough about the console business to know that all the money is made on the software. And you're coming to us and asking us just to make the hardware while you make the software. We're not that dumb.
Rick's point of view was, we have no chance of doing this ourselves. And so then the question became, how do we partner with Nintendo? Or maybe we should partner with Sega.
Sega seemed like a natural choice because of Microsoft's previous collaboration on the Dreamcast. But there was pushback against the partnership. Dreamcast had never been competitive with Sony, and Xbox needed to be unlike anything Microsoft had tried before. That left one last great hope.
With Nintendo's 64-bit technology, now Mario lives in a 3D world, and you can make him go wherever you want.
As we began to understand the business model, we really appreciated Nintendo. People don't buy consoles, they buy games. They want to play Mario, they want to play Pokemon, they want to play Zelda.
Accepting the award for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time will be Shigeru Miyamoto.
And you look at Nintendo and you find Spielberg of the video game industry and Miyamoto, and you go, wow, this guy's unbelievable.
Thank you very much.
I knew I could convince Microsoft to outright buy Nintendo. I mean, it would be an amazing accomplishment because it's the national treasure of Japan.
So if you buy Nintendo, you get credibility in the Japanese market. You maybe even get Miyamoto.
Was there a way to make that happen? Because that would give us instant credibility.
If Microsoft were to acquire Nintendo, they would have gotten two things. One was the hardware, and second is a massive games portfolio.
From Rick's point of view, if you could acquire Nintendo, you would immediately have access to the best game library in the world, full stop. So I made an introduction to the people around Nintendo of America, told them what we were interested in, and then we made a trip to Kyoto.
And who do you think you are barging into my office?
But I could tell from the first meeting that there wasn't a chance this was going to happen. They were highly skeptical.
Guards!
They were like not even remotely interested in selling the business. I never got past square one on trying to acquire them.
That to me is the pivotal point for Xbox. Oh my gosh, we're actually going to do this ourselves. And that scared the crap out of us. Because once it became a do-it-ourselves project, now the Microsoft brand is on the line, the Microsoft name's on the line, big and public. We're going to have to do a lot of things new. We're going to do hardware at scale. We are no longer in the Microsoft playbook.
An unprecedented challenge called for some change-ups and new additions to the team. Ted, Nat, and Otto left for other pursuits, while Thompson brought on someone new. Someone known within Microsoft for delivering complex projects against impossible deadlines.
One day, This guy comes into my office and he sits down. I'm like, who are you? And he says, I'm Jay Allen. I said, who's Jay Allen? And he looks at me like, everybody knows who I am, right?
We're really on the cusp of this digital entertainment revolution. So while for 25 years now, Microsoft prided itself on making the world more productive, now our challenge is to blend that with making the world less productive.
He was seen as a futurist that had a lot of credibility internally at Microsoft.
There was, the famous internet memo.
22 people in here with 3 people
"Hey,
talking.
Bill,
No,
we
we're watching this.
because this thing called the internet is coming.
Because
And it
we're
is going to
watching this,
transform
Shetta.
commerce, It's going to transform society, and it's going to be powered by broadband
It's
connections.
interesting
So
information.
we made a huge bold bet by putting a broadband connection in the back of the Xbox. Everybody thought we were nuts.
You have to remember, back in 1999, less than 5% of the US households even had broadband.
But I remember Jay saying, we're going to bet on the future, not against it. He had a vision for where online gaming could go and what Xbox could become. And Bill paid attention to Jay.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
With the right team together, Xbox needed the right operating system, and that was a little tricky. And political.
It's just amazing how popular PCs are.
Windows had been the catalyst for Microsoft's meteoric rise.
Games, word processors, calculators, calendars, all running faster than ever.
Bill Gates had been won over to the team's pitch on the understanding that Windows would power Xbox. But the team knew that Xbox needed to be leaner than a PC. Windows was an all-purpose tank. Xbox needed a street racer.
One of the things that makes Windows great is that you can do lots of things at once. You can be running Word next to Excel, next to IM, next to Photoshop.
And so the idea was, if we're going to put a video game console in the living room, it's going to run Windows.
Once or twice a week, we'd get pings from all sorts of different groups around Microsoft. Office was kind of the notorious one, saying, hey, I hear we're doing a console. I hear it's going to run Windows. What do I have to do to get a build of Office running? I bet people would like to edit their Word documents while sitting on the couch. What's the rating of this? Okay, so we had to do two things. One, we had to tell these groups off. That is not what this is. If you actually think people want to sit back on their couch doing spreadsheets, it's not going to happen. At the same time, we needed a lot of code from these groups. So we had to tell them off nicely.
You're dismissed.
Oh!
The services that Windows provides are really valuable, but the most important thing for games is speed. If you have an operating system taking 15% of the CPU and half the disk, you're dead.
One possible solution was to use just the Windows NT kernel, essentially the brain of the operating system. This would leave more space and flexibility for developers to program games. There was just one problem with that solution. The Xbox team didn't have access to that kernel, and the Windows team wasn't about to share it.
Here we are in the computer room that holds all of our server machines. If we'd have gone and asked the Windows team, they would have insisted that we take Windows as is, no modifications, subject to their approval, and we just could not bring that baggage over. So we had to steal it. We stole it. We stole it, yes. I have it running on this machine here. We actually grabbed it at night off of a server when no one was looking, about 3 weeks before a major Windows release was going to happen. We brought it back and just started hacking and slashing stuff out of it. We had to refactor and cleave off functionality to make this box so tuned that the games could be brilliant. What started out as a 4.5 megabyte working set for the kernel got that down to about 200K.
Mm-hmm.
So a tiny fraction of what Windows is actually made it over to Xbox. You could call this the evolutionary approach.
It becomes clear that what we're going to do is not what Bill and Steve thought they had approved.
Xbox would have the heritage of Windows, but not actually Windows itself.
The new operating system was streamlined, but nothing like the Windows-powered
Just
version
came
the
back
team
in.
pitched
Oh,
to win the
well, nice to see
technology
it,
bake-off
Ranger.
against Windows CE. With GDC 2000 just 1 month away, for Thompson and the team, it was the moment of truth. Time to call one final meeting. A do-or-die presentation to Bill Gates on Valentine's Day to ask if he could open his heart to a Windows-like version of Xbox.
We had to go to Bill and tell him that what he wanted most out of this, he was not going to get. This wasn't going to run Windows.
I can't imagine how it could be better.
Oh, Bill's not going to be happy.
This was the final meeting to either approve the Xbox or cancel it. One of the highest stakes meetings I was at my whole time at Microsoft.
Which is the Valentine's Day Massacre.
Valentine's Day Massacre.
It's like a 4:30 meeting. Rick, Thompson, myself, Ed Freeze, Jay Allard are the 4 Xbox folks there. Steve's there.
There was a whole outer group of people too. So this room was packed.
About 15 minutes later, Bill walks in.
He's holding the PowerPoint presentation and he walks up to the table and he throws it down on the table and he says, "This is a insult to everything I've accomplished at this company."
Leans across at me and says, "Why are you trying to kill Windows?
You guys have lied to me. You guys have like played me for a fool."
I start to try to argue for this, why we can't have the normal version of Windows. Bill doesn't want to, he doesn't want to hear it. He yells at me, he shuts me down.
They got a lot of alphas in the room and all alpha males. And so there's a lot of pounding the table and you're wrong, I'm right.
By then Jay is up, he's ready to fight. And so then Jay goes in, then Robbie tries to talk to Bill and Bill yells at Robbie.
If I'd had glasses on, I would have needed windshield wipers on him because he was spitting at us so hard and so fast.
Bill would yell at us for a while about these different things, and then Ballmer would take over on the business case, and the business case looked terrible.
By now, and the reason it's called the Valentine's Day Massacre is because all Valentine's Day activities are now off.
The candles at home, they're melting, and we're all missing dinner.
Why were you guys doing it on
The
Valentine's Day?
meeting gets to this sort of crescendo. And I said, okay, well, then let's not do it. We haven't announced anything. So that led to another hour.
And then somebody says, what about Sony?
Microsoft had owned the den and the office.
How cool.
And the thought of Sony owning the rest of the home is offensive to Bill. But the Xbox, it's the antithesis of everything that Microsoft is. It takes all of the hardware burden onto us. So it's really hard to make business sense of it. That's equally offensive. And what's going on with Bill and Steve was figuring out which of those was least offensive to them.
Bill kind of pauses and he thinks and he says, I think we should do this. And Ballmer's like, yeah, we should do this. And then they start getting excited and it starts going back and forth. We should do this. We should let these guys do this. Bill's like, okay, we're going to give you guys everything you asked for. Really want you to be successful in this project. You have all my support. And that part of the meeting took 5 minutes. And I turned to Robbie. I'm like, Robbie, that was the weirdest meeting I've been in 15 years at this company.
All I remember is Kevin Bacchus coming by and basically saying, we're doing it. We're doing it.
The system was going to get built. Hundreds of millions of dollars would be spent marketing it.
I wish Sony and
Once we
Microsoft
say
would
yes
make
to
it
this, we're saying
portable.
yes to this. This is real. This is as real as it gets right now. We're going to book the speech at GDC.
Bill Gates
I
was
don't think
going to
that's
go on
gonna
stage in front of the
ever
world and
happen.
announce it.
And it became very real when Rick Thompson sent an email saying that Xbox had been approved for an initial funding of $1 billion.
Wow, $1 billion.
With $1 billion on the line and less than a month left until GDC, Xbox's big debut had more riding on it than ever. The team set to work creating a prototype and recruiting game developers to the platform, a monumental task for a software company that didn't have much street cred.
When it came to console gaming in the late 90s, there was no perception of Microsoft. They weren't in the picture. But when it came to the PC side of gaming, Microsoft had a reputation.
Ed Freeze had built Microsoft Game Studios and kind of organized the studio structure by genre. We had like a role-playing studio. We had a sports studio.
We were doing golf. We had a basketball title and we had a baseball title.
But it was around the time we shipped Age of Empires that we started to really get respect.
You've built a glorious empire.
It was just a beautiful game. It was beautifully scored.
Age was a great game. It was a ton of fun. Everyone loved it.
Age of Empires is a grand franchise. But if you talk to somebody that likes to play Super Mario Brothers, it's really kind of a different customer entirely. And I think that they didn't necessarily view Microsoft as being in the gaming business.
Here we go!
To recruit console game developers to its unproven platform, Microsoft had to innovate development tools that would rival the competition, making game developers an offer they couldn't refuse.
We were all about what we were giving the game developers to work with to create the greatest games ever made.
The PS2
Like
was
advanced,
really,
offline
really
remote play, maybe
unfriendly
put a
environment
remote
to
play disc
developers.
with PS3. Maybe.
Seamus Blackley and Kevin Bacchus and Ed Fries, they were saying, we're going to fix this. So more of the money is going on the screen, not just trying to figure out the convoluted hardware. And that was like, really? I mean, it was like oxygen.
This was going to do things that the PlayStation can't, which meant to me, we could tell more stories, create characters that people care about, and create worlds that would be very difficult to do on the PlayStation. It's time.
We know at this point we're heading toward Xbox announcement at GDC. Game developers have to be excited so that they could talk to their other friends in the games industry and tell them, you know what? Xbox is legit.
The innovations offered in the Xbox created a promising future for console game developers. But to deliver that future, Microsoft still needed to complete a working prototype to debut on stage at the Game Developers Conference.
When Microsoft first started talking about doing a game console, everybody's willing to listen, but you need to see it.
We had to create a prototype game console that was obviously not going to be the final design of the hardware because we didn't know what Xbox was ultimately going to look like. But at the same time, looked nothing like a PC.
I had started working with the hardware guys' rapid prototyping group, which
The
was
fall is
literally
trash.
in
Return
the
to
parking garage.
more.
They had like built a temporary structure
Well,
and a
with
bunch of parking
Spider-Man
spaces, and like
and-
made it like a little office. I went to this area where the artists were, and they were having a remote control car race in the office. Around the desk, going right around, and that's how I met Horace Luke.
In a lot of ways, I work very scattermind. I don't really work on a linear path. Most of my days spent with markers and paper and just doodling.
I remember the guys coming in about 6 or 7 in the evening when everybody's leaving the office with this big motherboard from the 90s, this gigantic board that had all these PCI slots on it, and said, put this into something that is presentable on stage. And I still remember staring at it going, what do I do with this thing? The traditional Microsoft product was very ergonomic centric. The mouse, the keyboard. Though the Xbox was very different. It was about storytelling.
There's a lot of people focused on what's this set-top box going to look like in my living room. But that wasn't what we cared about. Horace was really interested in what was happening when you got sucked through that screen.
The role of the designer, it was how to tell the story at a glance. That Microsoft is about to go into a space that is brand new to what Microsoft was accustomed to. Telling people that this thing is going to be the most badass thing you can imagine.
I would go down and visit Horace, and there would be scraps of prototype drawings and other pieces of vision work that he would have.
The whole idea was this nuclear reactor almost, trying to hold this energy that's inside that is so intense.
He's like, dude, we need a metal X, and it's got to have a green eye, you know, shooting a laser out.
And he's always going to use sound effects. So he's going to be like,
what is the blind people? Because that's kind of how Horace would talk about these things.
That sense of escape and that sense of capability and power is what we try to create with this green portal. And inside there, everything is possible. That was how we wanted it to feel when it's on stage.
He could have shown up to GDC and plugged in a PC and tried to tell people it was a console, and not a single person in the audience, I don't even think we would have believed that that was really going to be a console. So we knew we needed to show something beautiful.
People got to be able to tell in an instinct that this thing is called Xbox.
What we ended up building was a 40-pound machined aluminum X that had been buffed to a chrome finish.
These big, beautiful, shiny chrome X's, they were like these incredible sports cars.
We ended up taking literally a solid hunk of aluminum and carved it with a 6-axis CNC machine. That box took 2 weeks to carve and 1 week to polish.
Building those metal X's was
Nice.
very trying.
Drew and I just after work, get a can of kerosene, get a rag, and just keep buffing it. Rub until that thing was polished.
somebody brought it out into a meeting and took a towel off of it and showed it to us. And I was like, that can't be in people's living rooms. Everyone's like, calm down. It's a concept.
And I'm like, okay, awesome about the green eye. How am I going to fit the components in there? And what we ended up doing is, if you look at a PC, there's like this main motherboard. So we stuck the motherboard at this, you know, on like one angle.
We had to shave off the edge of the motherboard because it just didn't fit.
We soldered the hardware together ourselves in borrowed space in the lab.
You know, I'm sure people looked at that and they're like, whoa, it's like this polished X. It's got this, you know, amazing green eye. But it was the world's messiest PC build. Like, it was components like just jammed in there. And you're like,
I don't know. I don't think they really will.
You know, work this time. I guess that's the one we'll take with us to GDC.
It's sometimes possible to forget about the people who actually make the games. It's over here in San Jose, California, for the Game Developers Conference, to remind ourselves that without these people, we'd still be playing checkers.
We'd still be playing checkers.
Announcing Xbox at the Game Developers Conference was like every Christmas morning rolled up together.
Video game developers are upping the ante on
I'm doing good,
realistic
Sebastian.
games.
Watching this
upped the
earlier
competitive
today.
ante,
Great
announcing a new
documentary. Yeah.
concept codenamed Xbox.
At GDC, the idea was that Seamus would go on and basically be the demo guy, talk about Xbox, show the demos.
But this was the first time that Seamus had stood in front of an audience of game developers and gamers since the launch of Trespasser.
Before he came to Microsoft, we knew Seamus from his stint at DreamWorks on Trespasser.
It was a personal passion of Spielberg. He was very involved in it.
I'm in Steven Spielberg's office, and we're going to do a game that could be a spiritual successor to Jurassic Park.
I want to know how much Microsoft did for gaming. I know, man. They did a lot.
Seamus really hit on this idea of trying to use physics to simulate a world populated by dinosaurs.
I wrote a big physics system in order to make an island that was completely physically simulated.
And they say every leaf and every branch that you walk into in the woods is going to move. And that was kind of a dream that we're like, yeah, that sounds good. But how are you going to do that? You know, how are you going to make that perform? Well, the end of the story was we're not.
And I made every mistake in the book. You can read about this online, all the stupid things that I'd managed in that project. And we shipped it before it was done. We shipped this broken game right into the jaws of the birth of internet gaming sites and the first fan sites. I personally just got destroyed online. And I had never seen anybody destroyed online. We know what that's like now. I thought my career was over. Everyone who was present in San Jose at the Game Developers Conference, they knew my failures with Trespasser. I remember sitting in my hotel room and I had to convince myself to just go show my face at this thing. And it was terrifying.
At least it's next gen only.
The day of the unveil of Xbox, I took 3 Xboxes with me, like these metal X's, 1 for the stage and then 2 for as like, you know, what happens if this fails.
We hand carry these things down in transit because these things are fragile. The idea was showing live demos, proving that we actually had nothing up our sleeves.
The game developers are not going to be tolerant of any level of bull at all.
All the things on the screen were specifically to show game developers that this Xbox was far and away better than any of the other consoles that they'd ever seen before.
And they have to be done in such a way where it's clearly interactive, clearly real, clearly running on the hardware as advertised.
We hand carry them down. We set them up. We turn them on. The first one doesn't work.
I opened up the first machine, and I'm like, what the is going on here? Like something jiggling around that wasn't quite right. And you're like, oh my God, like what happened in there?
So then we set up the second one. It doesn't work either. And the third one, none of them work. Seamus is backstage soldering, trying to get everything ready as the auditorium is filling up.
Was looking on the verge of green. He just looked sick. You know, I was like, well, maybe this is stage nerve. And I realized, you know, well, maybe it's also because all of our demo machines were completely deconstructed.
And out of our minds because Seamus went on stage to talk to the most cynical audience in the entire world.
If you took a photo from the stage of GDC, you would see, you know, gamers and game developers, and they'd all look very excited. But underneath that layer are, the most critical people you've ever met, waiting to hate that thing that you created.
Kevin was underneath the stage with a video switch box that could switch from the Xbox prototype that was on stage running the demos to one that Drew was standing backstage doing everything the same way I was doing it, so Kevin could switch between the two of them in case it crashed. Then it's in front of the boss. The boss is coming on.
Like to ask Seamus Blackley to come out and give us a look.
And then somebody decided we're going to make him put on a special leather jacket that doesn't really fit him.
We don't have the box, but we do have the leather jacket, so we're ready to go.
Well, we do have one box. This is our show box. So now, as I walk out on stage with Bill G, the full weight of my failed game, Trespasser, all of my dreams in the game industry, the ridicule that I thought I was going to suffer at the hands of every game developer who saw me fail to deliver this great thing, all of that pressure came to bear. Get up there, and I run the first demo. What I'm going to show you now is an example of advanced lighting techniques that are possible under DirectX 8.
We made a bunch of little toys that sat around your desk, like a little merry-go-round with dynamic lights.
Complicated shadows drawn across very complicated objects. There are reflections, there's environment mapping going on, and all this is happening at full hardware rate. Another great example of that is our water demo.
You can now see caustics on the bottom of a pool. All those things come from the power processing on a per
So I'm
pixel
going to do a
basis.
test comparing the Matrix
That's really
demo on
what
all
the
the
big
consoles and
differentiator was
guess
for Xbox.
Series
This
S
demo
loaded
took, I think,
faster
a
than
day
the
to
Xbox
get
Series
done.
S and the
And I can't
PS5.
underscore the importance of that enough. This takes Xbox from being a programmer-driven console to being an artist-driven console, a design-driven console. And that's really at the heart of the entire program.
The demo, it had a joke in it.
There's a classic Microsoft picture in the background.
Oh yeah, baby, that's texture resolution right there.
These were really smart demos and really ambitious. But when we saw the physics demo, I was like, wow, how is that computing?
In my high school physics class, I was scarred with the image of chain reaction as demonstrated by the old ping pong ball and mousetrap demo.
Physics was something that everybody wanted to do. Seamus had tried physics with his Jurassic Park game, and it didn't work so great. But now you were seeing those ideas actually working right.
A great example of the CPU doing all of this collision, all of this physics at the same time the graphics processor is rendering the scene for it.
Physics is cool.
And it
Raven
loads
and
quicker
robot
because
videos,
it's
you can see the
1080p.
photorealism.
The huge chrome robot that basically was motion captured by a female character called Raven. The level of physics simulation that was happening.
Yeah, I know a
there,
lot of
how
people
much
watched
the
this earlier,
CPU
man,
was
while I was
being
at work.
taxed. You knew as a developer, this thing was really, really powerful.
I was like, wow, we have got to get onto this box.
I was very surprised by the Xbox. I was expecting it to be kind of cool, kind of like a stripped down PC, but what I wound up seeing very much excited me.
These demos were instrumental and so critical to the importance of Xbox and people believing in it.
To get honest, candid feedback from our peers, it was exciting because we saw the enthusiasm for Xbox, and we knew that we had accomplished something.
Xbox is really going to be the king of the game stations. This is like a PlayStation 2 on steroids.
People are kind of giving us high fives, saying congratulations, and I'm like, do we actually do this?
I've never seen so much advance in one particular piece of technology before, ever.
From that moment on, we had credibility with publishers and with game developers because it was clear we did know what we were talking about.
And the next thing that mattered was that Bill Gates showed up for it. That signaled to the industry and to the rest of the world, Microsoft as a company is backing it with all of its might.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Despite all the fanfare surrounding Microsoft's Xbox, industry analysts say the company is going to face fierce competition.
When Sony's newest video game console, the PlayStation 2, went on sale in Japan earlier this week, consumers were frenzied with excitement. They snapped up nearly 1 million units at $370 a piece in the first 3 days alone.
We were at a disadvantage compared to Sony and Nintendo because we didn't have the legacy of building fun.
And Sony, they're movies, they're cool, they're awesome. And Microsoft is like, they wear khakis and they're boring and they're Office and they're Windows. And it's like,
For over a year, the team had referred to the top secret new console only by its codename, Xbox.
Well,
But
part
now,
6.
they had a chance to christen it with a bold new name, one that wouldn't evoke Microsoft's corporate image.
Naming is the worst part of marketing. It's the hardest thing. Nobody ever 100% loves the name. Ever.
Marketing would go to the same brand people that they would use for naming components of Windows, people who know nothing about games.
Paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go through the most rigorous system of naming, tested against all of the right customers, and they came back with list after list.
We had hundreds of names that were generated.
Friction, Cyclips,
and they were epically terrible.
Norbo,
Infinity,
Zod, XOD, Shock Factor. Oh my God.
Fireplug, Equestria, Vibe with a Y.
Xantra. Xantra is absolutely a blood pressure medication.
Frontier,
Log, OG,
Velvet,
Zigzag,
Zimulate.
You see, anytime you're naming something, you have to play the kindergarten game that everybody plays with their children. You know, okay, I'm going to give my child this name. Now, how are people going to butcher that their first day in school, right?
They were just way ahead of everyone else. Yeah.
I was having conversations with Robbie about, Robbie, Xbox is a really good name. No, you can't call it Xbox. That's code name. We don't name products code names. We need a new name. It's like, well, okay, we'll look again. We'd look again and come back. Xbox is a pretty good name.
I remember our final meeting with the naming experts. They came in with the perfect name. We've tested this extensively, and it's a winner. We tested it against the name Xbox. It blows it out of the water. Great. What's the name? With great fanfare, they unveil 11X. Because it goes to 11.
Well, it's one louder, isn't it? 11.
I looked at the marketing people looked at me, and they said, all right, we'll get on Xbox.
Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly.
Xbox.
There was a big debate internally about whether we should call it the Microsoft Xbox or just Xbox.
We did a lot of blind research where we would bring in gamers asking questions about what should the role of the name Microsoft be on this console. First response when we mentioned Microsoft was they rolled their eyes. A video game console from Microsoft.
What? Microsoft? Doing a console?
First of all, it would take forever to boot up, and then it would probably blue screen.
And then we asked them questions like, hey, if PlayStation were an animal, what animal would it be? Be a lion, the king of the jungle. If Microsoft were an animal, what would it be? Be a spider. It could kill you, but you also just want to step on it.
Even if Microsoft smothered the brand, it just was going to be a non-starter.
The idea that Microsoft could ever compete with Sony or Nintendo or even Sega was seen as a bit of a joke.
Might as well call it nerd.
Kind of funny all that money they wasted trying
Bill
to
Gates
find
was
the
the richest
name.
man in the world. They were such an important
Yeah.
tech force, but what they weren't was in the living room. They weren't an entertainment company.
Among gamers, 0% of people believe we could
Yeah,
do it.
I was a
PlayStation
journalist,
consoles.
and I
Yeah.
thought, I don't know how Microsoft is going to make a console worth.
Can you imagine walking up to Bill like, hey, you know what the biggest liability I have in my new product launch is? The name of your company.
All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call that the stream tonight. You guys have fun. I'll probably finish watching these tomorrow or maybe tonight. But let me go back over here. That was pretty cool, man. Watched 2 of those. Let me stop sharing the screen. Remove that. So, yeah. Let me get this laptop out of the way. Oh my goodness. All right. So, oh no, I was a Dreamcast guy. Yeah, dude, I like Dreamcast 2, PlayStation. Man, I've had them all. I like playing video games. I like all of them. Oh, it's probably the best games ever. So, guys, back to that one question. Did you guys want to see more gameplay of that Sword Fairy 7? It's only a Sword and Fairy 7. It's only available on PC. I don't know if it's going to get ported or not. It would be pretty cool if it did. I think it'd be a pretty cool game, but if you guys want to see some more gameplay, I can stream some more or something. I have no hard feelings. So yes, you do want to see it? Okay. I will definitely do some more on that. So all right, guys. You guys have a good night tonight, man. I'm gonna go ahead and be done with the stream tonight. See if maybe I can make and upload a video too. So all right, guys. You guys have a good night. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you.